Pointer number 7 is going to make me look or sound like some broken microphone because I seem to just somewhat be going around the same pointers over and over. But pointer number 7 says assess yourself often. So let me give you a practical example of what I did. Okay, I kind of did it in the prelims, but I doubled down for the finals. So for example, for some subjects like IT theory, this is what I would do. Because remember, with IT theory, you have like a textbook this thick. And you kind of have to know all that theory. But all it means is they really cannot necessarily tell you, okay, study chapter this, study chapter that. No, they'll just tell you study everything because they're going to pick out random stuff from the textbook anyways. But then there are certain key elements that they just always put in, like I mentioned. So this is what you do for those kinds of subjects, or this is what I did rather. There are days where I would just take like 3 past papers. 3 past papers. Remember, 3 past papers is like 3, 6, 9 hours of writing. But it did not mean that I was going to spend 9 hours on these 3 past papers. Nope. What I literally did was I sat down, took the first paper, and I literally just wrote it, just doing what I could. What I couldn't answer, I did not even spend a minute or 2 or even 30 seconds on it. I just looked at it. Do I know how to answer this question? I really don't. I moved on. Made sure I finished. Sometimes the first paper would maybe take me like an hour, maybe even 45 minutes. If it was really bad, even 30 minutes I'd be done. And then I mark. I'm like, whoo, 30% is rough. But then what I would immediately do is, okay, fine. Like while I was writing this question paper, while I was marking, there are certain things that I was seeing. And some of the answers that they were giving, they seemed like something I could really cook up in my own head. I leave the question paper. I go to the second one. I do the same thing. I'm writing out what I can write out. If a question seems a bit hard, we move on to the next one. So the next one would normally take me, the second question paper would be like, I don't know, about an hour or so, maybe 90 minutes total, because I would at least maybe be trying to see the first question paper, this second one, what are the similarities. So a lot of the stuff I would really just have gotten them from the first paper. And then by the time I get to the third paper, I'll most probably maybe spend like 2 hours on it now, because I kind of have a bit more to write. I kind of have a bit more meat, to put into the question papers. Because remember, there are certain ways that questions are answered that you can almost like try and manufacture the way of answering yourself, because you'll be seeing like the memo says this, it gives you marks for this. So when you will be writing it yourself, also you stop just writing random things from your own head. You try to craft it in a way that is somewhat acceptable. So this would take me maybe like a day, half a day. If needs be, I would even have a 4th paper, so that the following day, right, I may not necessarily now maybe be working on past papers. I may now know at least, okay, fine, for the 4 papers that I went through, there's these specific topics that they kept on asking, but regardless of whether or not I eventually marked or got answers from the memo, I still couldn't understand. Then I would study those topics properly, and then obviously we repeat the process. 4 papers, and then obviously during those 4 papers you're taking note of your marks, and trust me, if you're doing it properly, which you will be, your marks will be increasing bit by bit. You get like 30% there, 35, 45, 55, 65, the next one you're in your 70s. In those 70s, 75, you're feeling confident. Pointer number 8 is blunt. Stay healthy. Just stay healthy during your prelims / your finals also. It's a simple statement, but yeah, just do the little that you can. Just go for a slow jog here and there. It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It really doesn't matter. What I remember doing between my prelims and my finals, well, technically in my high school year, is I always made sure that I went for a run as often as I could. Legit, just went for a run. It took me, I don't know, however long it took me. Came back, took a shower, did some studying. Those things, they are way too underrated. Do not put them off for too long. I know you may be thinking, but my guy, running is not for me. Like whatever it is that you can do, just don't be lazy. Just don't be like in a state of being unhealthy. Like you just do something. It's gonna help your brain. Okay, it's gonna help you academically. Pointer number 9: get help. Like there are online courses, there's YouTube channels, there's tutors that you can approach. There's study guides. #Maths Simplified. This can help you. This study guide, you can get it on our website. On our website, you can also sign up for the online courses. The online courses basically are able to take you through the whole math syllabus. Now, this is the good news. The entire syllabus on our online courses takes you about 24 hours to finish. This literally means if you go through 2 hours daily, in 12 days, you would have covered the whole syllabus. Now, just your brain knowing that you have covered the whole syllabus, that kind of gives you some peace. gives you a bit of peace, so that at least now less stress. If you can imagine, 3 hours daily means in about 8 days or so you'll be done with the entire syllabus. Now between prelims and finals, if you know that there are still gaps in your maths, I suggest you sign up for the online courses. The link to that is in the description. Now if you hop onto the online courses right now, like if you go to the website, chances are there is a sale there right now as of this recording. So pointer number 10 is also a bit underrated. I simply wrote here, have a positive mindset. Like, have a positive mindset. One thing I remember actually during my entire metric year, like if there was ever a year that I was like properly motivated, okay, let's leave motivation out. If there was ever a year where I just had like a positive mindset, it's gonna be my metric year. You know, I just had a positive mindset to say, okay, fine, this is what I want, let's just try and go for it. Not necessarily let's just try and go for it, but let's go for it. Because I mean, you know those cliche sayings, if you aim for the moon, I mean, if you miss, you land amongst the stars. Those kinds of things, they do sound like cliches, but I mean, like, there is some truth to it. You know, like, aim as high as you can, because however high you will aim, if you fall short of it, you will still be where you are comfortable with. Instead of like not having any goals, not having any aims, you're just going through exams randomly, you don't have any goals, you don't have any specific mark that you want to get. When you find yourself in those situations, that's a recipe for a bad mark. Period. Recipe for a bad mark, you know. Now, I know I've always said things like no one gets a distinction by mistake, and that's a true statement. Let me try and expand on it. When I say no one gets a distinction by mistake, I don't mean that when you sometimes get a distinction, you won't be surprised. You could be surprised, but not to the extent where you somewhat are just like, what? How did that happen? No. You will know exactly, okay, you know what? I may be surprised by my distinction, but I kind of did put in the work. Like, I kind of put in the work. I legit put in the work. I was expecting like 75, whatever, but 80, I'll take it, you know? That's what I meant by no one gets a distinction by surprise. Anyways, that's that for this video, and I promise you there are more videos like this coming up. If you have not subscribed, this is the time to do so, otherwise you're gonna miss out. You don't want to be that person that, let's say, maybe I don't know, let's say finals happen, you really don't get what you want, and then next year you're now scrolling on YouTube, you bump into this series and you're like, but I didn't watch this video, and you check the date when it was uploaded. It's like, oh, what? September? I could have watched it and maybe did something, but I didn't. Don't be that guy. So I suggest you subscribe. I suggest you do turn on your notifications, because my mind is kind of at peace with a lot of things. So yeah, man, we're gonna go hard on this, and we're gonna make sure that this thing called academics is not a chore, you know, because everyone always sees academics as a chore. Now the main goal with this series is to make sure that you don't think that way.